What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Prince, with the original look, because this video will be nothing but original. I miss my rebookings, some of my classic videos that made this channel what it is today, so it's time to bring back at least one of them in the middle of WrestleMania season. You guys have deserved it. You guys love these rebookings, so I decided to write one myself. This one wasn't really requested, but a lot of people uh down the road have always wanted to see what would I have done to do the Nexus better. I did get like maybe one or two requests in the past, but that was a long time ago. But what would I do different? For starters, I would make them not look like bitches and bury them to John Cena. I would actually make them pretty qualified stars. But it is really hard to book the Nexus because it's 7 dudes, so there could be a way to work around it. Now, here are my notes, but I read it and yeah. So for starters, before I start anything, one thing I would change before we even get to the Nexus: Kane wins Money in a Bank at WrestleMania 26, cashes in on Chris Jericho to SmackDown after, and is the world champion. And he goes on a dominant run. He even faces the Undertaker at Money in the Bank in a Last Man Standing match. More on that later. But that's what you should be knowing on SmackDown, that Jack Swagger never becomes the world champion. Instead, Kane will become the world champion a little bit earlier than usual. So, we debut the Nexus the exact same way on Viewer's Choice Night. The Nexus just beat up everybody. And sight, Daniel Bryan gets fired for choking Justin Roberts. Unfortunately, that still happens. But then Bret Hart announces that the Nexus will not get contracts in the WWE. Um, and Wade Barrett has lost his World Championship compete clause, pay-per-view chance to win. So the next thing you do is see that the main event, to prevent any chaos, is going to be a lumberjack tag team match between Randy Orton and John Cena versus Edge and Sheamus, hyping up the main event to Fatal 4-Way. So we're doing that, and then the lights go out, and then you see just a Titantron showing up that the Nexus beat up Bret Hart and throw him in a limousine like in real life. So Bret Hart is MIA. He never shows up. Yeah, no Bret Hart anymore. So Vince McMahon fires him because uh, Bret Hart couldn't handle the chaos that caused the Fatal 4-Way main event, where the Nexus come back and attack everybody. Sheamus wins the world title like in real life, and then Wade Barrett decides to take his anger out on Vince McMahon. So the Nexus beat up Vince McMahon. So no more Vince McMahon. Then they announced that an anonymous Raw GM will take care of Raw because the anonymous Raw GM is too much of a coward to be shown in from the Nexus. This will be important for a future storyline. Spoiler alerts: the GM will not be Hornswoggle. Will instead probably be Michael Cole. That will lead to a slightly shorter match with Jerry and Cole. A way much shorter match at Jerry and Cole at Mania 27. Hopefully, it won't be that much of a train wreck. But anyways, enough of that. Back to the Nexus. So at Money in a Bank, instead of doing 2 Money in a Bank ladder matches, we'll do 1 Money in a Bank ladder match featuring 4 guys from Raw and 4 guys from SmackDown. And those guys will be consisting of, from Raw, Randy Orton, Edge, John Morrison, and The Miz. From SmackDown, it'll be Rey Mysterio, Dolph Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, and Kofi Kingston. Yeah, it will be those 4. Miz wins Money in a Bank. This will be kind of important later. But yeah, there will only be 1 Money in a Bank ladder match. Like I said, Kane is the world champion, and he will be beating the Undertaker in a last man standing match. Then Sheamus versus John Cena in a steel cage match is the main event, and that's when the Nexus come out. And they beat up everybody in chaos, and then Sheamus sneaks in the victory. He rolls up John Cena, 1, 2, 3. Sheamus wins, and then Sheamus immediately climbs the cage, gets out of there, grabs his championship, and gets the hell out of there. Meanwhile, the Nexus climb up the cage and beat up John Cena. And the final scene you see at Money in the Bank is Wade Barrett standing tall with all the Nexus over John Cena. Then at Then at SummerSlam, we keep the storyline the same way of John Cena forming a team. I won't change the teams. I will keep the teams the exact same way. Randy Orton and Sheamus fight on the same show. We do the whole DQ finish. It'll be important for storyline purposes. Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston open the show, but it ends in a no contest because the Nexus attack them. And finally, another thing you should know that Kane, the world champion, loses to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is now once again your world champion on SmackDown. Now, the main event, Nexus versus Team WWE. We keep the match the exact same way, except for the finish. The final two are John Cena and Wade Barrett, and then because of all the destruction that the Nexus have done, the concrete floor is shown on the side of the ring. Wade Barrett does a DDT on John Cena on the concrete floor. John Cena is thrown back into the ring. Wade Barrett pins him 1, 2, 3. Wade Barrett is your sole survivor. This is important on the next night on Raw because Wade Barrett was upset that the rest of the Nexus couldn't be there with him because he's the only one who was the sole survivor. He's the only reason why the Nexus have contracts now. That was another stipulation that the Nexus, if they win, they get contracts to the WWE. That's another thing you should know. But Wade Barrett's like, you guys, the rest of you should really prove me that you guys are worthy of being WWE superstars. And then the anonymous Raw GM says that Wade Barrett can do whatever he wants with the Nexus. And however, Team WWE still wants revenge on the Nexus, so they want a match with each and every one of you. Now, Bret Hart is retired for good, and John Cena is nowhere to be seen because after being hit by concrete hitting your head on concrete, I think the last thing you should do is show up the next night and be all clear. You gotta sell injuries sometimes. So no John Cena and no Bret Hart. So taking John Cena's spot will be Randy Orton, who faces Skip Sheffield in the first match, and Randy Orton beats the shit out of Skip Sheffield, pins him 1, 2, 3, and then Randy Orton punts him. He's furious that he didn't get to be WWE champion because of Sheamus shenanigans. So Randy Orton just takes out all his anger on Skip Sheffield. No more Skip Sheffield. Wade Barrett is talking shit, saying that Skip Sheffield is not Nexus worthy. That proves it. The rest of you, you better win your matches, otherwise you're kicked off the Nexus. Next match, Michael Tarver versus Daniel Bryan. God damn it, I gotta stop doing that. This will have showing that Michael Tarver is this like UFC type fight brawler. He punches Daniel Bryan, punches him. His finishing move, I guess, what could be the Kimura lock or an armbar, something like to that extent, I guess. But Michael Tarver stays. He beats Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan gets up, but it's really hard for him to get up. But then the Miz comes in with his briefcase, hits Daniel Bryan, and we start the feud between the Miz and Daniel Bryan. Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater decide to team up. They convince Wade Barrett, but he's like, fine. You do know that if one of you costs each other the match, you guys are both out. And he's like, well, no, and we won't let you down. So Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater beat John Morrison and R-Truth, showing a new tag team. And trust me, we're going to need some tag teams. This will be very important. David Otunga, because he is the smartest of the team, he beats Edge by countout. Edge is about to spear him in through the turnbuckle. David Otunga sneaks out, and then gets into the ring, and Edge doesn't beat the 10 count, so David Otunga wins by countout, showing the smartness of David Otunga. Plus, David Otunga is a pretty shitty wrestler. Then the final match, Chris Jericho and Daryn Young, and Chris Jericho is excited because he was the only WWE pro from NXT, so Chris Jericho knows the Nexus team more than anyone. He has been in the back with that talent, so he knows what they're good at and what they're not good at. So the final match is Chris Jericho versus Daryn Young. Chris Jericho beats Daryn Young by submission, and then with Daryn Young starts crying, he tries to talk to Wade Barrett like, "Please let me stay. Trust me, I won't let you down again." And Wade Barrett is laughing. He's like, "Okay, fine." And then they hug him, and then Wade Barrett clotheslines him, and then they attack Daryn Young, and then you hear the Raw GM and Michael Cole reads the email, and he says that the Raw general manager has spoken with Teddy Long personally, and that they made a deal where the Nexus will be a part of SmackDown because the Raw general manager does not want his show to go to complete and utter chaos. So the Nexus is sent to SmackDown. They got WWE contracts, but they're going to SmackDown. So the SmackDown after SummerSlam, the first thing you see is Rey Mysterio come out with his World Championship. He is celebrating, and then the Nexus come out. They don't attack him, but they offer. Wade Barrett wants a shot at the World Championship. He still loses his chances at being a world champion, and Ray refuses. Like, you world champion? I don't think so. Just because you attack people doesn't mean you earn a shot. You don't just do it like that. If you want my respect, you better earn it. And maybe, just maybe, I will fight you, Wade Barrett, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Terry Long comes out and says, like, don't attack him, Wade. Don't attack him because next week I have a match set up. Rey Mysterio versus Kane, the rematch for the World Championship. You better not ruin my main event, player. In fact, Wade Barrett, tonight you're in the main event against Kofi Kingston. He wants revenge after you cost him the Intercontinental Championship. So the main event is Wade Barrett versus Kofi Kingston. Wade Barrett obviously wins. Earlier on the show, you still see the rest of the Nexus have matches just to show off. It'll be like David Otunga, Michael Tarver, Heath Slater, and Justin Gabriel in a 4-on-4 against like some of the local SmackDown talent. Not necessarily like big time players, but you get the idea. Those guys win, and then Wade Barrett beats Kofi Kingston in the main event. Wade Barrett stands tall, and then the next week, Rey Mysterio defeats Kane in the rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Nexus come out and attack Kane, and this will write off Kane off for a while. More on that later. And then the next week, the Nexus get invited to Christian's peep show, where Christian is telling Wade Barrett, like, yeah, all you guys do is just a bunch of rookies that don't know what you guys are doing. Heath Slater, I trained Heath Slater. I was his WWE pro. He knows better than that. And now he's taking orders by just a suck up that can't do anything on his own. The Nexus is about to attack Wade, and then he's like, wait, hold on. I hear you, Christian. You want to talk a big game, and you want me to prove you wrong? Well, tonight in the main event, it's going to be Wade Barrett versus Christian. Wade Barrett, Christian beats Wade Barrett by disqualification because Wade Barrett couldn't beat Christian, showing that Christian is a world champion material. More on that later. But Christian has a good showing, but Wade Barrett kicks him in the nuts. Wade gets disqualified. Then Wade Barrett loses it. He gets a chair, smacks him. The Nexus attack him. Rey Mysterio comes for the rescue, and then they attack Rey Mysterio as well. And Rey Mysterio said, "I've had it of seeing the SmackDown talent getting destroyed. You want me at Night of Champions, Wade? You got it." So at Night of Champions, it's gonna be Rey Mysterio versus Wade Barrett. Also on that show, the Hart Dynasty lose their tag team championships to Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel. So Night of Champions ends with Wade Barrett as the world champion, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel as the tag team champions. The main event of that show, if you're wondering, will be a championship scramble match between Sheamus, John Cena, Chris Jericho, Edge, and Randy Orton. A championship scramble is kind of fun. Some people hate the stipulation. I think it's a very fun one, to say the least. Next up, Kane returns with Paul Bearer and The Undertaker. This is the reason why. So even though Undertaker lost to Kane, they do have respect for each other because they're brothers in kayfabe. But now they want all of the Nexus. So the main event of Hell in a Cell 2010 is going to be the Nexus versus the Brothers of Destruction in a 5-on-2 handicap match, and it ends with them breaking the cell, then putting Undertaker through a table, and then Kane is by himself, and Wade Barrett pins Kane. So the Nexus, the Hell in a Cell ends with the Nexus standing tall in a 5-on-2 handicap Hell in a Cell match. A different type of cell match, but a unique one nonetheless. Because they didn't pin Kane, the Undertaker, Undertaker now wants revenge for his brother. So it's gonna be Wade Barrett versus the Undertaker in a buried alive match for the World Heavyweight Championship with Paul Bearer, of course. And the match ends with Wade Barrett throwing Paul Bearer uh, into the grave, and then Undertaker's about to choke slam Wade Barrett until finally the Nexus come out and they together throw the Undertaker into the grave. And sure enough, they bury him. And that's the main event, by the way. Um, um, Early in the card, we have Randy Orton versus Edge. In a loser leaves Raw Falls Count Anywhere match. So Randy Orton and Edge finish off their feud at bragging rights. Again, loser leaves Raw Falls Count Anywhere match. If you're wondering what John Cena's doing on this show, he's part of Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, which ends with Team SmackDown winning because The Miz cost John Cena the match because he didn't want John Cena once again in the spotlight. He'd rather lose than to have John Cena have another victory. So that will set up a future match between them at WrestleMania. Now, hopefully, people will be slightly more excited for it now. Also on that card, Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater beat John Morrison on R-Truth for the tag belts. You know, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, they proved that they are a good tag team. This is gonna be very important later. But anyways, the night after bragging rights, we do a battle royal where the winner will face Wade Barrett for the World Heavyweight Championship. On the same card, Teddy Long just wants the belt off of Wade Barrett, and he'll do anything at all costs. So we do a battle royal where the Big Show will win his first ever battle royal. It'll be a big mark out moment for the Big Show, and then the main event later on the card is going to be Wade Barrett versus Big Show for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it ends, of course, in a no contest once again because of the Nexus shenanigans. Now, because Randy Orton beat Edge in a loser leaves Raw Falls Count Anywhere match for the WWE Championship, Edge comes to SmackDown, goes after the Nexus, attacks him. Same with the rest of the SmackDown roster. They all come out. And that's the final scene. And then Edge basically says that I came to SmackDown to start brand new. And on Raw, while I was there, the Nexus almost destroyed Raw, and I'm not going to let them destroy SmackDown. My home. This is my home. SmackDown has always been my home, and it will remain that way. So it's going to be at Survivor Series, Team SmackDown versus the Nexus in a 5-on-5 elimination match. Representing Team SmackDown is going to be Big Show, Edge, Alberto Del Rio, Rey Mysterio, and Kofi Kingston, with the sole survivors being Rey Mysterio and Edge. And Alberto Del Rio never gets eliminated, but he does walk out. That's important. So Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Alberto Del Rio, because they were the sole survivors, they the SmackDown after Survivor Series, it's a triple threat match. Winner faces Wade Barrett for the World Heavyweight Championship the following week. So Edge wins. And then the next week on SmackDown is Wade Barrett versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship in a lumberjack match. This way, the Nexus don't get in the way. And around this time, Edge and Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio are constantly feuding. And instead of the Nexus costing Edge the title, Alberto Del Rio does a kick to Edge in the face. Wade Barrett takes advantage, pins him 1, 2, 3. Wade Barrett is still the World Heavyweight Champion. And it seems like Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio are still feuding. They realized that they had to put their differences to the side of face the Nexus. Matter of fact, Teddy Long makes a tag team championship match between Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio, where it ends with, of course, Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio beating each other up. But then, lo and behold, Edge comes out for the save. He saves Edge and Edge saves Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio. Then Edge spears Alberto Del Rio for the revenge, and then it's set up at TLC 2010. It's going to be a fatal four-way between Wade Barrett, Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, and Edge, of course. So yeah, those four. It's a fatal four-way for the World Championship TLC. This will be the main event yet again. And it ends with Edge winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Then the first SmackDown of 2011, it's Edge versus Wade Barrett in a steel cage match. And the Nexus is about to attack Edge until you hear Christian's music. Christian comes in for the save, helps out his best friend Edge. And then around this time, Wade Barrett starts getting furious with the Nexus, saying that they are like not as good as they were in the beginning. Hell, it started off with 8 and then it went down to 5. So Wade Barrett wants to do anything to get back on the top. So at the Royal Rumble, every member of the Nexus is in the Royal Rumble. And they do some good showing. Hell, Wade Barrett's number 1. He does the gauntlet for a while, but around the time that the Nexus are around, the entire Royal Rumble, they start teaming up. Like everybody else in the Royal Rumble, they start teaming up. We don't do the 40-man Royal Rumble because that was stupid. So, also around this time, Miz cashes in on Randy Orton, the WWE champion. So that still happens. And John Cena is been dying to get his hands on the Miz, but he never seems to because Miz is too much of a coward to take on John Cena. But that'll be important later. There's gonna be a part where Wade Barrett is almost eliminated, but then Wade Barrett shoves the person who almost eliminated him. In the process, Heath Slater punches Wade Barrett, and Wade Barrett is eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Heath Slater is shocked, and then the person who was originally gonna eliminate Wade Barrett grabs Heath Slater and eliminates him, and then little by little the Nexus all get eliminated. So that's gonna be important later, of course. And then also John Cena looks like he's gonna be very dominant, but Miz, who is on commentary, Alex Riley distracts John Cena, and then Miz eliminates John Cena like in real life because Miz is too much of a coward to face John Cena. So the final 2 of the Royal Rumble is going to be Christian and Randy Orton, one from Raw, one from SmackDown. It's always cool when they do interbrand, and it's 2 megastars. So the winner of the 2011 Royal Rumble will be Christian, and then that will set up Edge and Christian at WrestleMania. It starts as a friendly feud, which turns into them starting to argue with one another. But That will be very important. But anyways, on the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble, Wade Barrett is not completely furious with Heath Slater. It was an accident. But Heath Slater is scared shitless. But he's like, you know what? On the Royal Rumble, I started at number one and I went the gauntlet. I lasted longer than any superstar in the Royal Rumble. And I want to see you, Heath Slater, if you and Justin Gabriel are willing to go the gauntlet. So this whole SmackDown, it's gonna be a gauntlet match with those guys, um, uh, and going the distance. So will they be willing to go the distance? So the entire night, it's going to be Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel defend their tag team titles against teams from Raw and SmackDown constantly over and over because we don't have that many tag teams around this point. But the final tag team that shows up is Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian become the tag team champions. Don't worry, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel win them back later after Edge and Christian start arguing with each other. Around this time, Big Show and Kane start forming a bond, but because Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel regained their tag team belts, the Nexus are eligible to compete on both brands because the tag team champions could compete on either Raw or SmackDown. So on a random episode of Raw, they return and beat the crap out of everybody. John Morrison, R-Truth, Santino, and Vladimir Kozlov do a 4-on-4 with the Nexus. And the Nexus win, but then some guys from SmackDown come in to help, mainly Big Show and Kane. So Big Show decides to form a team between some of the guys from Raw and some of the guys from SmackDown. And David Otunga made a contract that if they lose, the Nexus disbands forever. And Wade Barrett's like, I like your thinking, David Otunga. You are clearly the smartest out of the Nexus. So this may be upsetting some people, but it'll definitely be better than what we got. So this whole scheme is just a setup to have Wade Barrett get his comeuppance. The Nexus is no more. So the match is set. It's gonna be Big Show, Kane, John Morrison, Santino Marella, and Kofi Kingston, those five. It was originally supposed to be R-Truth, but he gets injured by the Nexus, and R-Truth goes evil around this time because he didn't get a chance to be at WrestleMania, and he loses his chances to face the WWE champion thanks to John Morrison, like in real life. So that would be way much better storytelling. And Vladimir Kozlov gets injured around this point, and I believe he retires around this point. So it'll make sense with those five. This is very important. It doesn't really matter, but it's a 5-on-5, and if Nexus lose, they are officially done. So the match is set. It starts with Heath Slater and Kofi Kingston. They're about to fight, and then Heath Slater nods his head at Kofi Kingston, and then the rest of the team are happy. And then Heath Slater tags in Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett's like, "What? I'm not gonna be in the match. You get in the match." And then the Nexus walk out. Wade Barrett is mad at the Nexus, and then he realizes what's going on. So Big Show punches, or Kofi Kingston tags in the Big Show without Wade Barrett noticing. Big Show hits the punch on him. Santino hits the Cobra. The Kofi Kingston hits the Sunset in Paradise. Kane chokeslam Wade Barrett, and then John Morrison hits his moonsault from the top rope. 1, 2, 3. Nexus is disband. Wade Barrett is embarrassed, and the faces go over. Why would I go this route? Well, this is how you build a story and have the ending of a good heel. It is all just a setup to embarrass Wade Barrett from the Nexus, and then they all go their separate ways. Michael Tarver could be this evil dominant monster down the road. Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel could help out the tag team division because they were actually pretty great. David Otunga could retire and go to commentary, but then Wade Barrett could easily pick himself up and go for the IC championship division. But that's the most important thing that happens with the Nexus. Yeah, Nexus didn't need to like have this big epic like finale to the run. They just needed to have Wade Barrett be the main focus of this group. Have the Nexus still be developed as upper mid carders, and be treated with more respect. Hell, if you guys don't know this, a lot of people forget, but the Right to Censor, they ended losing to APA, Taz, and some other guy. I forget his name. But the Right to Censor didn't end on a big high note. Even though they were one of the biggest parts of 2000 in the WWF. Same thing could be said about the Nexus. They started off strong, and then little by little, it just all set up as a big plan for the Nexus to get their comeuppance on Wade Barrett in a very smart and clever way. But they now all go their separate ways, and now they're more established as superstars. Ryback could debut like he did in 2012. Daryn Young could form the primetime players, and Daniel Bryan, you all know what happens with that guy. But that's my rebooking of the Nexus. What do you guys think? It's Mimi, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And until then, I'm out.